I've seen 3 more movies this year that I haven't reviewed yet and have to catch up with, but let's start off with a film genre that I haven't really reviewed yet on this channel, a documentary. I Am Chris Farley is exactly what you think it is. It's a documentary of the life of Chris Farley. Now overall, this documentary isn't particularly unique. It isn't something that is breathtaking and just totally different for the documentary genre, but it gets the job done and it does exactly what you expect. It documents the life of Chris Farley. You get a little bit of his early childhood and how he grew up. You get a little bit of his early career when he was improvising. You get a little bit of when he was on SNL. You hear about his first movie, Tommy Boy. And then ultimately it goes into his addictions, his inner demons, his lack of confidence, and ultimately his death. Now I did really enjoy this film. I like Chris Farley. I think Tommy Boy is a very classic, awesome comedy. And it was surprising to hear that critics completely hated the film when it first came out. And I was shocked because so many people that I know and then so many things I hear about Tommy Boy, plenty of people just say it's an ultimate classic comedy. And when I looked up Rotten Tomatoes, sure enough, 40% for the critics. But thankfully, audience has it at 90%. Good job, audience. There is a little bit of information I didn't know about him. Chris Farley wasn't that confident of a comedian. Now this sounds crazy because he's so over the top and he's just seems so confident with his style. However, plenty of things in this documentary prove otherwise. Even when he was on SNL during that time, when he was considered one of the best comedians on Saturday Night Live, he was always saying that everyone else is better. You get interviews from all the people you'd expect. Saturday Night Live co-workers, plenty of other comedians that were around him at that time. I think the only thing that's really missing is a little bit more in-depth with his addictions and some of the darker stuff and his death. Because a lot of that is just sort of skimmed past, or they're talked about briefly throughout the film, but doesn't go into great detail. And I understand because they're interviewing friends of Chris Farley. Who would want to go into detail about the death of a friend, even if it's been years that they've been dead? But a little bit of lack of depth with his addictions and the death did keep me from giving it maybe a 4 or 3.5 stars. So I'm going to give it 3 stars. Yeah, I Am Chris Farley is a really good documentary. It does exactly what you expect, so it's not too unique and not too artistic or out there and different. But it gets the job done, and anyone that is a fan of Chris Farley will most likely love this film. So have you seen I Am Chris Farley? What did you think about it? Go ahead and comment. Are you a big fan of Chris Farley? What is your favorite Chris Farley movie? Mine's Tommy Boy, obviously. And as always, this is Bruce Gifford, and this was Just My Opinion.